Afternoon, everybody. This is Leah and Ryan from featherselitepigeonauctions.com with an exclusive event this afternoon. We are live with the legendary Emiel Denny. Emiel Denny, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Ryan, take it away.
Well, I have had the pleasure to go to multiple shows through Poland. I've been to Fugare, and I was lucky enough to meet Emiel Denny, Emiel and his son, and I got talking to him, and I looked over the pigeons, and being able to speak with him, with my dad, and going through the birds, you could just feel yourself drawing to this legend, a real, not only a superhuman, but a super pigeon man, a true artist, a designer, really constructive man of pigeons, and still winning. He's been winning for, I don't even think he's never stopped winning. He's still winning. And to our Facebook friends and family, you guys are in for a real treat today. Again, we want to let everyone know, if you like what we're doing, go over to our YouTube channel, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, and all we ask you to do is just hit that subscribe button. That's it. Leah, let's bring the legend on, Emiel. Emiel, are you with us?
Yes, I am with you. Also, I want to show you something just came in today about my 2020 results. I have a new photo with the stars from 2020.
Hey, there's no problem, no rush to grabbing that. I want to thank you. How is everything going over there in Belgium? How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's new?
Well, I am feeling okay, of course. We have the coronavirus here, but for me, it's not too bad. As you know, I live in the countryside. I try to have contact every day with one or another pigeon fancier to have a chat. Otherwise, the life would be too boring. So I take care of my pigeons all day, then of my paperwork, my connections all over the world, and then I have a chat with the local fancier. So that's the way my time passes. Usually around this time, I am ready to go to China for the exhibitions, but unfortunately, it is not possible this year. We cannot get a visa.
Well, hey, sorry about that, but hey, you're with us, and we appreciate that. Just a quick question. I should say happy birthday. You guys are celebrating 100 years in pigeon sport.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Very, very good. And just a question: how did this journey, this road, begin 100 years ago? How did it all start?
Well, how did it all start? My grandfather, Emiel Dennis, Senior, his family, I think in his family, there were 12 children, and there were 3 or 4 pigeon fanciers. Then one of his brothers, Oscar, ran a pigeon club in Ostend. So in Ostend, yes.
By the sea.
By the sea. But in the city of Ostend now, there are only 7 pigeon fanciers left. Because at the seaside, it's very difficult to have the pigeons due to the building restrictions now. The high apartments, the buildings, so it's no more allowed to have pigeons. So, or very difficult just at the outside. But I mean, my grandfather's brother Oscar had a pigeon club in Ostend. A pigeon club. Then at that time, many people had pigeons. Pigeon lofts all over the place.
Yes. Yeah. And so that all started, and so that would have been probably in about the 1920s?
This was 1920, yes.
Yes.
He was my grandfather. Both my grandfathers were in World War I. So on mother's side, in father's side. So my grandfather was in World War I. It ended in 1918, so he was already married because my father was born in 1913, my uncle 1915. But and so he started with his family, and he started as enjoyment to keep pigeons.
Just for plain enjoyment at first.
Yeah, well, yes, and to raise always. See, then at the way it was at that time, very simply. But then
Now,
gradually, when his sons grow, they were flying further and further because my father and my uncle were both interested. So then also in West Vlaanderen, they started a long distance association. And my grandfather, this was in 1938, and my grandfather was one of the founding members. So they were always interested in long distance. Then, unfortunately, came the Second World War. And then, but after they continued with this. Even my uncle became the president of this. After my uncle, the next president was Norbert Norman, very famous man
Yes.
for a long time, so they also then run a pigeon club in Distel, long distance pigeon club, which is very famous. Many national winners were born there. But this was also due to the people in the area had a chance to fly long distance. There was a club, a marking station for long distance. So everybody tried,
Right.
So this is the way it went.
And now, just a question. Back in those days, right, when you flew the long distance, what was the kilometers, and how did they send the birds to how did it all work? Because it wasn't transports, was it?
Yes, there was transport. They all choose liberation stations along the railroad. So in France, so the pigeons went by train. First were collected by truck, then there was a central train station, and then from this train station they were transported, but all liberation points were situated, but they were all liberated in the stations of the railway stations.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Leah, you had a question.
I have a question from Neil Gonzalez, and it's a question that I was going to ask you. This today is Remembrance Day, where we celebrate war heroes. And Neil's asking, can Emiel share any war stories about his family's pigeons on Remembrance Day? I know you had a story earlier that you told us about how your family's pigeons were taken away from you during the war, correct?
Yes.
So how about we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, but they were taken away only. So in the Second World War, only 5 fanciers in Belgium were allowed to keep their pigeons. Say their lofts were occupied by the Germans. They could not enter their loft themselves. The other pigeons were all transported, some to Germany, some to Denmark. So my grandparents' pigeons were transported to Denmark. So,
to be used in the war, correct?
No. Not to be used in the war. This just take them away from. The main reason was that there was the Atlantic Wall against England. They were living near to the sea, so all the pigeons within a radius. I don't know exactly the radius from the sea, had to be taken out because they worried they could send them to England or come back from England as spies.
Wow.
You have another question, Leah.
So let's get into it here. And so we have a question. Why Barcelona? why have you decided that to concentrate? I mean, you do a lot of Barcelona racing, and why have you chosen Barcelona for your pigeons?
Well, Barcelona is for Belgians, for Europeans, the extreme distance. So, so it is the top of the top, I would say. So I challenged for that. Also, when I was, say, in my end of, when I was 18, 19 years, 20 years old, a very famous Barcelona man was my friend Maurice van der Velde from Ostend. He was a very special man, and he always liked to challenge the extreme distance, the hardest of the hardest. He sent all his young birds to Bordeaux, 750 kilometers. He didn't mind if only one survived, that's enough, but he wanted to challenge. So he motivated me by listening to his stories. He motivated me also a lot. So, but I have tried, and in the beginning it was very difficult because you don't know. Well, it is always difficult these days, but you don't know how to do. You must send pigeons with experience, but not pigeons that are too tired, that already have done too many miles. So it's quite difficult to find the balance. So in the beginning, we sent pigeons that were overtrained. So the first pigeon came back one. The first time we sent one, it was quite a good pigeon, but he was overtrained and came back 1 week later. The second year, we tried another one. Then a 2-year-old, he was not overtrained, he was in the prizes. But we did one mistake. 2 weeks later, we sent them to another 900 kilometer race. He came back, but too late. So he was, what would I say, broken for the year after. For Barcelona, you must breed the pigeon from Barcelona. You must prepare it all his life for Barcelona because it is the extreme.
Okay. So just a question. So I know you're basically in your family tree of your actual family. You guys, your whole family really specialized and prided themselves on the long distance racing.
Yes.
And that's interesting. Now, you growing up, and you have friends that inspired you to fly long distance. Did you ever say, well, maybe I'm going to fly short distance or sprint racing?
No idea. Excuse me. Also, my grandfather, always thinking long distance. We were in the area of Catrice brothers, the Vriend, all long distance men. So all people around us only were thinking and talking long distance.
So people that are listening in, you are seeing right now. You're getting to listen to a man not only of 100, the family of 100 years that specialized in these extreme distance of racing, which is really amazing. Because I know in North America, if you like, I know my dad, he loves long distance flying, and it's really here. It's not as big. It's almost like it's too much work, or there's just no people that are involved. But you guys there, you love it. And I mean, when I came to your place and I came into the room and we were looking at pigeons, I am going to be honest, and I'm going to ask you now if you can show it. You have 2 fantastic trophies.
Yes.
That you've done from winning Barcelona.
Yes.
The Golden Wings.
Yes.
Now, guys, when you see this, it gives you goosebumps.
Wow.
The Golden Wing, I won this one in 1982 with the T.
With the T.
The T was probably the best Barcelona pigeon ever. He was also the best over 5 years Barcelona. So, and then his son, the called Playboy, won it in 1986. This one.
Look at that. So you won 2 of them. Now,
I want two golden wings. I want two silver wings.
And I believe you're the only one to do this.
Yes.
Congratulations. Now, a question. When you started into the long distance, and you're talking about birds taking a couple days to come home and figuring things out, how long did it take you before you felt like you were competing and you were ready to start to try to attempt to win the Barcelona? How long was that?
Well, I think I started to think like that 1974. 1974, 1975, 1976. So I started to think, I started to know how to do, this was the main thing. But of course, I fly also all other long distance races also, all as we call it, international race, from Pau, from Aachen, from St. Vincent, so from Narbonne, from Marseille, Perpignan, so Narbonne, I have won two. Narbonne International, I have won 2 times. Saint Vincent International, I have won 2 or 3 times, and 2 more times with the hands also. So I have.
Here's a fun question, and I'm sure people will like to know. Do you prefer, for your distance racing, do you prefer flying hens or cocks?
Well, I fly both. Then you have 2 chances. In the beginning, I started racing hens because I lost too many cocks. So I did not know which hens to keep. So I say, if I raise them, well, it will show it by itself. The best ones will survive. So that's why I started racing hens. I also had to learn that. But then I found the main reason was to find good breeding hens.
Good breeding hens.
Because now you can always try that if you have 5 good racing hens and 5 beautiful hens, and you start breeding from them, from the racing hens, you will have very little waste. From the beautiful hens, you will have much more waste.
Okay, so hold on. So people listening, what Emiel, I believe you're saying is sometimes you're far better to breed out of the hens that have done the work,
yes,
than the beautiful hens that look great, feel like $1 million, and done nothing.
Yes.
There you go.
I prefer, because this is this year I did very well from Barcelona with the Cox team, but now I am preparing a hens team again for next year, for the year after. So my hope is that all my breeding staff, that the cock has done well from Barcelona and the hen has done well from Barcelona. So that I make pairs, only Barcelona pairs, perform Barcelona pairs.
Well, I'm going to tell you, what I see when I'm talking with you is I'm seeing a little kid. You're so excited and you're so pumped. You're ready to win. You're ready to fly right now, and that is great. And I think pigeons do that. I think pigeons never age people.
No.
It's always that next year. It's always that next year.
Yes. You must think like that.
Yes.
Because I'm now training yearlings. This is for Barcelona in 2 years. Normally, I only send pigeons to Barcelona at the age of 3. 3 years, yes.
Okay.
When they are really mature.
Okay, now, too, when you breed your young, because every year you're breeding, because every 3 years you need a team for Barcelona.
Yes.
So let's just say you're breeding out of pigeons that you look at and say, these pigeons are I am dreaming in 3 years will go to Barcelona. What is your regiment with them? So that you breed the babies, you hatch them out, you wean them to their loft, and then what happens to those pigeons? Because it's 3 years.
Yes, well, as a youngster, I try to send them many times to say for me training races 100, 200, 300 kilometers every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Whatever the condition is, whatever the weather is, if they are molting or not molting, I don't look at it. They go every Sunday.
Okay.
I don't.
And you'll take them out to 300 kilometers.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this year my youngsters have been sent about 10 times.
10 times.
Yes, yes. So now as a yearling, the cocks go to the widowhood loft. They will do, say, 100, 200, 300, 400 or 500 kilometers 2 times, and then one time about 700 kilometers.
Okay.
The hens, they will do 2 times 500 kilometers, and then go to Narbonne. This is 875 kilometers.
Whoa! So you move the hens real quick.
Yes, because a hen is quickly maturing than a cock.
Okay.
So
now, guys, everyone, you are listening to a gentleman with their family 100 years, and when he says a hen matures quicker, when you're saying it, you've tried so many things. There's so much experience here. So the hens, you're going to take them out quicker. Now, when you take those hens as yearlings, you will the hens or the cocks with your widowhood as their yearling year. How do you prepare them? Do you loft fly them every day? Do you train them 100 kilometers a day? How do you prepare pigeons as yearlings?
Well, yes, as a yearling for the cocks, they fly the standard widowhood system.
Mm-hmm.
Where they also have a hen, but this hen stays at home. I say the classic widowhood system.
Right.
So, yeah. So I train them 20 kilometers, 50 to 100, and then they do only go to the racing and exercising around the lot. I don't bring them away in between.
Okay. Now,
no training, but I will continue now the hens. The hens are flying on natural system.
Ooh.
So the hens, they are training in the afternoon when the cock is sitting on the nest. So I make them training 1 hour with a flag in the afternoon. But they usually, if the condition is growing, they usually fly 1.5 hours.
All right. Yeah. And you normally then, when the condition's right, you don't even show them the flag. They just want to naturally do it.
But I only have to show the flag the first 5 times maximum. After they know, no more problem.
Right. No more problem.
I am always walking in front of the loft. They know I am there. But they are flying very well.
Okay, and before we move forward past those yearlings, I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to step back one spot, and I'm going to say, with the young birds, I know you train them, I know you race them 100, 200, 300 kilometers. For your young birds, do you open loft them? How do you do them?
They also, every day, one day, I open the loft. They train for about free training, I would call it. Free training for 1 hour. Maybe they fly but when they are old, they fly 1.5 hours. Maybe they fly 2 hours one day, and then come back, and I whistle them in, and so.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. So, now, so you're at the yearling stage. You're flying the hens natural. The cocks are on the widowhood, and let's say at that point you're looking for super hens. I think that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
And you're not even really super paying attention to how the cocks are doing. You're just basically flying them out.
Yes. Yeah, with the cocks. Well, I'm more as a yearling. I more concentrate on the hens, but I look at the cocks also when they come home.
Right.
Say especially from the 700 kilometer race. So
right.
This is about the final stage. In what position, in what condition they come back. This is also important. Eh?
Yes. So if there's a cockbird that you're looking at as a real super, he catches your eye, he's looking good. You send him to the 700 kilometers, and he is your worst bird. He has a bad day.
Yeah.
Is it over for him, or do you keep
No,
moving with them?
I don't know. Next year is 900 kilometers for him.
Right.
He gets another chance. I don't. But if he is really worn out, then I no more use him. Because if they have been in the red, then they will never come back from Barcelona.
Now, Leah, do you have a question?
I did have a question. I had a question because I know you do concentrate a lot on Barcelona, but you've also been a champion in one loft racing. And my question to you is, why one loft? Like, why did you kind of move from? I know you still concentrate on Barcelona, but you're also now into one loft racing. And what appeals to you about one loft racing?
Well, first of all, it is very pleasant. You only have to watch the computer for the arrival. No need to watch. So I keep one round of pigeon every year. I participated about 20 one lofts. First of all, you make a lot of friends. In every one loft race, you compete against fanciers from 20 different countries. So it's a new world. Also, then you learn very fast the quality of your pigeons. There, the pigeons are all treated the same way. No extra for this one, no extra for this one. So if you have a good one, immediately. Because then from these pairs I keep and I breed also. But there again, most top prize winners are hens.
Right. And we see it all the time. And, it's amazing. What is amazing is your whole family from 100 years here in this sport. Think about it. 80 years ago, Stend or wherever it is, there was never one loft racing.
No, but also this, about one loft racing, this is also a new form of racing. Life has changed also. People maybe have no time to race at home, so now they can do in one loft race.
Now, sorry, Emiel, sorry to cut you off on that. Just another question before we move on with those yearlings, and as you're graduating, when you are now going to send your youngsters to one loft races, and you breed your later rounds, do you look? What makes you select pigeons to send to these races? Is it birds that have won at Barcelona? Is it how a baby looks? Is it the pedigree? Is it the conformation? Is it the nicest? What makes you pick pigeons to go to these races?
Well, I have one around, I send them all. I breed from all my pigeons, I send them all. Because you never know what is in a pigeon. So, and also one of the reasons of my success in one loft race, well, otherwise from 500 kilometers in Belgium racing, I cannot compete. It's a specialty with the young birds. There are young bird specialists. You need a lot of time. It's other birds. But in the one loft racing, with my pigeon, I can defend myself because it's more difficult, more natural. You need a pigeon with more resistance in the one loft racing because pigeons from all different places come in. So you need the pigeon with more resistance, which is around.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. Would you say that one loft racing is more difficult than Barcelona racing, or the same?
No, it's another matter. It's not more difficult. Because also sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult, but it's another game. You have more fast success. As a youngster already. So next year you have new youngsters. With Barcelona, you must build up a team until 3 years. But you can do with the same pigeon.
I think one loft racing, I think what you're saying is more instant gratification.
Yes,
It's
yes,
whereas
I-
Barcelona is a longer process. It takes more
yes,
time, maybe a little more thought, a little more energy, a little more effort, not only from you, the breeder, but for the pigeons themselves. It takes a lot more, I think, for Barcelona than a one loft race. Correct?
yes, it takes a lot more. Also, first of all, they stay in the basket already. They have to stay in the basket 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
So, so
Now,
we normally basket on the Sunday, and the pigeons are liberated on the Friday.
right.
Wow.
Now, I mean, it's really, Leah. I mean, when we talk all about this, and it's you hate to rush this great story because you can just feel it, the build, and it's amazing how you've moved into one loft racing and you're successful, and you're still at the top in these distance races, and I look in your pedigrees. I look in the pedigrees, and it's your pigeons everywhere. It's everything is your pigeons.
Yes.
I don't see you going and buying a pigeon from somebody. It's all your pigeons. How do you do it?
Yes, but I have enough different lines in
Right.
my pigeons I can work with. So this is important, not to go too close, because now recently I had a chat with another grand champion, Noel Parent, and he
No
said,
parent.
yes, so we talked about pigeons, and he said, I remember one thing. He is older than me, he's 78. He said, I remember one thing from Rwanda, and he said, when you are older, you must make that you have a strain. No more that you have to try too many things.
Right.
You must have a strain, and but he has. Noel also have. I have. From Rwanda have. But this is something we learned from him.
Right. But do you think the modern? Here's a question because, and I think is a good question. You have seen pigeons from you've seen whole strains of pigeons, families of pigeons, and now in this day and age, it seems like there's a lot of mixing of pigeons. When I look at your pedigrees, I get this warm feeling. Where in a lot of pigeon pedigrees I look at, it's 7 different or 8 different families, or 3 or 4 or 5 families of pigeons in the pigeon.
Then you are lost. You lose
Then you are lost.
you lose yourself in it. How can you know your pigeons? So my pigeons, every generation is tested on the road. I only breed one generation not tested. I mean, from a star, I breed a daughter or a son, and I will breed from this also. But not 2 generations,
Right.
because then maybe you are lost. You are too far from actual racing, actual winning.
Right. So what you're saying is when you look at the tree, you will breed one for stock and breed out of it, but
Yes.
you won't go back 2 times.
No,
No. No, no, no.
only one time.
Okay.
Only one generation.
Now, another question. If you pick a pigeon that you say, I'm going to breed it for stock, and you keep it and you breed out of it, how long will you test it to say if it's bred you good pigeons before you move it out and say, no, that wasn't a good one?
Well, I don't have to do that too long time because I test them 2 ways. One way for long distance, one way for one loft racing. So in one loft racing, we know very fast. This is one of the advantages of one loft racing also.
Okay.
You know very fast the results.
Right. It's amazing how you've modernized. You're moving with the times.
Yes.
You're not. You know, I talk to some people I've talked to lots of people in Europe, and when you say the word one-loft race, they turn their nose up and they say, no good. But you,
Also,
you
yes,
love it.
yeah, I love it, and I recommend it to all my friends. But I must teach them a bit in the beginning because they think if they send 10 pigeons, there will be 10 good ones.
No.
I always teach them if you have 1 to 10 in the final, it's already good.
So, people watching, like Emiel is saying, take your pedigrees and rip them up. You can send them off your best pigeons. If you have a pigeon that can make a final of a one-loft race, you're already on the top because you've given yourself that opportunity to win. Now it comes down to a little bit of luck and a good pigeon and the right day.
Yes, this I agree. Yeah. Also, with one-loft racing, we can race all year around.
Yes.
So I have been racing in September, October. Now we are approaching in December in Thailand the finals, in January in Thailand the finals. So we race pigeons all around the year.
Yeah. Now, flying these one-loft races, do you have a couple favorites that you like participating in?
I like participating, say, the 500-kilometer ones.
The 500-kilometer ones, yes. So that's about 300 miles. Okay. And you go a lot of the time with what? Mostly hens, or you will mix?
Oh, I take them all. Because
Send them all.
I breed one around for one-loft racing. I send them all.
Okay.
Because if you start picking this one, you don't know what the other one is.
Ah.
You give them a chance.
You give them an opportunity. Now, I know when we were at your place with my dad, we talked about in Belgium, you guys have something that you do, I think it's 4 weeks, and you go around the clock. And I think you were saying you tested youngsters on this.
Yes, this is at the end of the year. I mean at the end of the season. We call it the Tour of Belgium.
Tour of Belgium.
Yes, and now we are a bit softer, but before they were liberated in any weather. Say it's 9 o'clock, it's foggy up, but now we are more careful for animal protection and everything like that. So we wait until the weather is nice, but they go in all directions. Actually, my Barcelona team, now so successful, has been trained in this Tour of Belgium as a young one.
So that's something you do with your Barcelona pigeons,
yes,
as like a graduation to move to the next level.
Yes.
You see, guys, and what's amazing is when I'm talking with Emiel, even when I met him, I really say you are a real fearless warrior. You are fearless. You just go.
Yes, well.
Now, getting back, and I know we've kind of switched some gears and we've talked one-loft racing and that, but getting back to those yearlings. Now, you fly the hens. Leah, you don't have anything to add in here, right?
No, go ahead. Carry on, Ryan.
Okay. So you've flown your hens to 700 or 800 kilometers, and you're watching them. You see how the cocks do. Now you move the cocks to the 2-year-old year,
Yes.
and you move those hens as well.
Yes. So the cocks stay in the same loft, but as a 2-year-old, we move them to the 900 kilometers.
Right.
It's from the 700 to the 900 kilometers. And the hens also go to another, as a final race, to another 900 kilometer race.
Right.
Not the same one from the cocks, as there is racing every week. So 1 week they go the cocks, 1 week they go the hens. We send them to 900 kilometers.
Okay, and in that year, when you well, I guess this could almost be from yearlings, even with the hens and the cocks. Do you leave the cocks always with the same hens and the hens always with the same cocks?
Yes, we leave them with the same partner.
That's it. So
Yes.
it's a team.
Yes.
Yes, and do you take youngsters out of them, or is it
Well,
just
I tell you, if say the hen is doing well of the yearling from Narbona, then we take the youngsters from him the next year.
right?
So from the cocks, the same. If we see, well, as now one of the cocks has been to Saint Vincent, but all the cocks have been to Saint Vincent, but one is winning number 20 national. So from this one, I will take the youngster.
Okay, so I again, guys, if you're watching, Emil is constantly using common sense, and I feel he's using the basket is the guider. You're being guided a lot by the basket,
Only by the basket.
only by the basket.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so now you've flown the hens. That they've gone to the 2 year year. Now you go to year 3.
Then they go to Barcelona.
And it's the same thing. It's the same. And preparing birds on that 3rd year, that's a special year for those pigeons.
Yes.
How is the preparation for such a race?
Well, very similar. I let them do 2 times 500 kilometers, and then they go to Barcelona, both cocks and hens.
Now, when you say to people 2 times Barcelona here in North America, they're not. I don't know if they really understand it. So what you will do is you'll get the birds out, you'll get them loft flying, you'll get them naturally exercising. How much will you yourself take them down the road and physically train them? 20 kilometers, 80 kilometers. How do you work with them?
But the cocks, no, not.
No.
I don't do myself. With the hens, I do sometimes. If it is hot, if the days are very hot, because I usually train my hens, as I explained, when the cocks are on the nest. So this means in the afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. But in full summer, it can be very hot. So I then take the hens away for 60 kilometers in the morning. So they have finished their training before the hot weather.
Okay, and how much road training yourself will you do with those pigeons?
Well, maybe with these hens, maybe 6 times the 60 kilometers, maybe 8 times, depending on the weather. Eh?
Yeah, depending on the weather. And when you say depending on the weather, what will stop you from training?
If it's raining,
Right. That's it.
raining, you know. If
Headwinds, shoulder winds is okay.
It's no problem. It's no problem. As long as the visibility is okay, they go.
Okay.
But if it's raining, or sometimes we have fog, so if the visibility is bad, I don't go.
Okay. So again, a lot of common sense. And now, if you're taking them 60 kilometers and there's a little bit of rain here and there, because I know Belgium, it can be like that. Do you worry or do you just go?
No, a little. I don't bother. I worry. I go.
Okay.
I go. If the visibility is good, it's okay. They pass. They pass.
Okay. And another question: when you're setting birds up or building your season, how do you work the feeding?
Well, this is very simple with me. In the morning, I feed what we call Gabi van den Abele mixture.
Okay.
Which is low calorie. So
Okay.
it low calorie, and at night they get a spoon of what we call racing mixture.
Right. And you feed twice a day.
Twice a day, yes.
Okay. And for people that don't understand, how much you feed in the morning and how much you feed at night?
Well, it's the same spoon, but no calorie in the morning and calorie at night.
And when you say a spoon, a teaspoon, a tablespoon, or a soup spoon?
A soup spoon. They get enough. But what if there is some left after I take away?
So when you feed them in the morning, their soup spoon mixture. How long do you leave it before you take it away?
Well, this I don't all day because I don't want to disturb them too much.
Ah.
So this after 2 or 3 days, if left over too much, I clean up and I give it to the widow hens.
Oh, okay. So you don't waste any.
I don't waste them.
No. So you will do you feed them in the boxes or do you feed them?
The racing pigeons are fed in the boxes, each one in his box. Single.
Wow. And you like doing that? Why? Just because of territory?
Yes, of course, territory. Territory is very important. Also, they are more tame with you. They see, my food is coming.
Oh, that's smart. So you're feeding them in their own little box, in their own little section, in their own little box. That's very smart.
Yes, yes. You have better connection with the pigeon.
Excellent. A great idea. A great idea. I have a question with regards to eye sign. Eye sign is a huge hot topic here in North America. Everybody, either you're for eye sign or you're not for eye sign. What is your feeling on eye sign and the importance of eye sign? Do you look at eye sign or not?
Well, I have seen all the best pigeons of the last 50 years. They all have different eyes. So at what do I have to look?
So I'm going to ask you, if we're looking at two pigeons, okay, and one is just a super racer, he's won everything, he's great, and the brother or the sister is beautiful, she's buoyant, she's average, but her eye is just the diamond, right? What are you picking?
Right, the one that performed well.
So there you
Common
go.
Sense.
That's very simple. That, for me, is always performing.
Now you see, Leah, it's simple.
Beautiful. And also, the pigeon, if he performs well, he gets more beautiful.
Oh, for sure. I have a question from the audience, from Eldon, and he asks to Emiel, what are your thoughts on birds that have raced in Europe versus Canada versus South Africa, etc.? He's heard that birds that fly great in one part of the world may not fly as well in another part of the world. So he's curious, what are your thoughts about birds flying at sea level versus above sea level versus below sea level? Do you think that matters?
Yes, this matters. Some pigeons can fly over the sea. Some pigeons cannot fly over the sea. It is all different. It is also with other sportsmen. Some can like the hot weather. Some like the cold weather. Some like the rain. Some don't like the rain. Some like a difficult marathon. Others like an easy marathon. The others can only fly can only run 1,000 meters, not 10,000 meters. It's all different. But the same good pigeon, maybe he not fly. He must fly from the south to the north, and the direction is changed from the south. Is changed. It can be a good pigeon is not good everywhere, I would say.
So what again we're hearing is, audience, listen, it's a lot of common sense. I like Brussels sprouts. My sister hates them. It's almost that simple when you think about it.
You must
don't overthink it.
This you must learn by experience. What pigeon is suitable for this course? For the course, you have to fly, you have to win. That you must find out yourself, or you must create.
Right now, a question: are you afraid to try different courses? Are you afraid to try the sea? Are you afraid to try to go to Canada? Would you be afraid, or would you first attempt it and see how you do?
I am never afraid. I said my pigeons fly all over the world.
Yes.
They are the best pigeons for the sea racing in Taiwan, where they start where there is a heat from 36 to 40 degrees from the Philippine Sea. So they are the best to fly there. But we had to find out which line we follow, which line. So I fly in about 20 different one lots, all different courses. So that's why I say I send 10. Then I hope to have one. Then I find out for this country, for this course, this line is best. So next year I also send from this line.
Wow, it's amazing to see how you are, and you're developing these lines to compete, and in super tough conditions. I mean, it's really quite amazing. What is what are you looking forward to do next? Like, what's going to be your next big? What are you trying to your next big win? What are you hoping for?
I hope, of course, Barcelona. But now, in short term, is for Thailand race. One of my so I participate in 3 Thailand races. You have the Pamok race. This is the old FCI race. There I have won the Princess Cup 3 times. I am the only man to win it 3 times. So then I also race in non-choc. This is only the second year I participate there. This is a younger race. I participate with the partner in the Pattaya International race because I don't want to pay myself. It's quite expensive. But I was lucky in the 2020 edition. My pigeon was number 1 ass pigeon. It was bred from another ass pigeon in another race in Thailand. In the first race, the president bought it, raised the child in Pattaya, and wins with it. So I explained you before. So now this president is a very rich man. He invited me. You can send 5 pigeons. I will pay.
Wow.
So you're playing all over, which is great. I mean, you can see Leah. Can you not see? I see a 19-year-old man here. He's living the dream. You're flying a good pigeon. You're enjoying it, which is great.
I have a question. Emiel, what is the achievement, the one achievement in pigeon racing you're most proud of?
Well, this was by winning the Golden Wing first time.
Wow. Like, what an achievement. And you won 2 of them.
I won 2 of them. But the second time was not so exciting as the first time.
Why was that?
The first time's always the best.
Already had it. You know, the first time is always more exciting.
Right. Well, hey, Leah, he won 1982. You know, that's a special year, the year I was born.
That's the year Ryan was born. So.
So you must understand, the Golden Wing started in 1978. So in 1980, I was already runner-up the Silver Wing. So with the T, then I had an extraordinary pigeon. So he was also very good in 1981, but then in 1982 he was in super condition. He was a 6-year-old, and he wins the second national, the Golden Wing. So.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing. In North America, when we fly old birds, I do not see pigeons 3, 4, 5 years old, 6 years old. Forget it. You don't see it. How long will you fly those pigeons to the Barcelonas?
Well, usually, so this team now has been 2 times, 2 very hard times. So I will send them one more time next year. So they are mainly from 2016. So they will be 5 years old. Mm-hmm. I did with a T for 5 times because he started as a 2-year-old. So, and his races were not so difficult as they are now. Then they always arrived 9 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock, one time 12 o'clock. But now, every time they only arrive, this last year, 6 o'clock at night. This year, 6 o'clock at night. So they have to fly
On the second day.
on the second day. They have to fly 2 full days.
Wow.
Wow. So I mean, and here we're going to talk about this. The bounce back of your pigeons when you're flying them from yearlings to 2-year-olds, you're always handling them to see how quick after an event they bounce back. They come back.
Yes.
Yes.
You don't need to handle them. I can see that.
You can see it. Yeah.
Yes.
You see how they act, how the character is.
You can see when he drops on the trap if he is worn out or he can do it again.
Now you see, again, Leah, we talk about it. If you watch your pigeon, this is a man here, he's flown so many times. He watches and he sees the character, probably from yearlings to 2-year-olds. Emiel's, one of his favorite moments is watching the birds just land, just to see how it bounces, how it acts. He goes in, he looks, he has a drink, but his feathers, he looks perfect. No ruffling, no nothing.
This is most important. Just
Wow.
the minute after they arrive, the 5 minutes after they arrive.
Now, if you get pigeons that come home and they might be right up at the front, and he comes home and he is just beat.
You have to be careful for next time.
See?
Maybe well, he has been in the red, we call it. You know, if he has been in the red, then it's dangerous.
Interesting.
A question for new people getting into the sport, getting into the hobby. We have a lot of new people here in North America that are interested in getting involved. What is your one piece of advice for new flyers getting into the sport?
One piece of advice. So start slowly. Not too many pigeons. Maybe you go to a good fancier and you get some pigeons from him, but not mix too much. Maybe one. What we do mainly in Belgium is we get, say, 10 pigeons from one fancier and 10 from another one. These 2 fanciers, you get the pigeons from half a strain, a bloodline, a family of pigeons. And then you let them together.
Okay.
And also, you do not race with the pigeons you introduce. You only race with the children.
Okay. You only race with the children.
And what you're saying, I think, Emiel, is don't get from 5 different or 10 different lines. Try and focus on a couple different strains and start with that.
Start with that, and these pigeons you don't raise, you breed from them. You can, if you say you start with 2 strains, you can keep a few pairs pure. You follow the advice of the fancier, and you try a few pairs crossed. And then you will see the difference of what is. You must find out, But
yes.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Oh, don't overthink it. Exactly what we keep trying to tell people. Just don't overthink it. Keep it simple. It's not that complicated. I have a question from a fan of yours, Emiel Dan Gregoric from Thunder Bay, Canada. He has some of your pigeons that he's purchased from Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. And he has a question for you. He says, "Hi guys, love the Denise pigeons for years. Does Emiel send both sexes to the One Loft races, and what sex does better for you, Emiel?"
I think I already answered that. I send both sexes, but hens do best.
Hens do best. There we go.
Hey, I still have your gift, and
Yes.
I want to thank you for that. I mean, here in our showroom, when people come in, and I let them know. Well, they ask me, "Well, where did you get this book?" And I says, "This was a gift from Emiel Denys," and I show them the book. It's just awesome. Thank you very much for this. But there's your man Silver Wingman right there. I got him here in the picture. It's a great book. You have a plethora of these books. Your birds have done so well worldwide. They just keep winning.
Yes, it's true.
Do you think it has to do with the years of flying the distances, and you took those birds from the distance and you took them to the one-loft races and you still won?
Yes, but I think for one-loft racing you need long distance pigeons.
Not sprint pigeons.
No.
There you go,
Because
folks.
in the one-loft racing, there is always a schedule. So they want to keep, although the weather is maybe sometimes good, they try always to keep the schedule. And in this racing, you have a bad race. The sprint pigeons are out, maybe not lost, but only from 100 miles. They are not lost, but they get, by the weather, they have to fly too long. Maybe instead of 3 hours, they have to fly 5 hours. Maybe they still come back, but are worn out. 1 week
They're
later,
burnt out.
Yeah, 1 week later they have to go again. They all have to go. They don't watch. You have been tired or not tired. They all have to go, and they gradually fall out. But these long distance pigeons, maybe in the beginning are a bit slow. So then, but they come through, and at the end they only survive. And then we go to the 300 miles to 500 kilometers. In many countries, it is mountainous. Flying time is much longer. Instead of, say, 6 or 7 hours, sometimes it's 10 hours, 11 hours. So then you need long distance.
Wow.
You will be better in one-off racing. You will be better off with long distance pigeons than sprint and middle distance. The 300 miles there is different. It's 400 miles.
Yes. I agree with you there. I do. I think you're right. Leah, did you have a question?
Not yet, no. But I was very interested to know. You've achieved so much in your lifetime in pigeon racing. Is there one goal that you have that you've not yet achieved that you're working towards? Or have you done it all?
Yes, there is no championship. I have won the FCI World Championship, one loft racing. I have won the General Championship in Belgium. I have won the Europa Championship. So I don't know if there is another championship.
You've done it all. You've raced it all. You've won it all.
So I won the Golden Wing. I won the Prince. I had a lot of enjoyment winning the Princess Cup in Thailand the first time in 2006 because I never thought I could do that. My pigeon could do that at this distance.
Right.
So, and this was beyond my expectation. So then I did it. Then the years after, I always tried. Generally in Thailand, I have good results because it is a very difficult race. They start behind the mountains. So, and the pigeons are split up from the beginning, almost come by themselves. And then, of course, you have the heat in the afternoon there. And at 6 o'clock, it is suddenly dark. So the day is finished. You must be in.
Wow. Tough racing. Tough.
It's just incredible. And again, for people listening, and you hear the winds. I remember the first time I met Emiel. I believe it was at Poznan or Fugare, and he had said, we had just started talking. He said, "Hold on, I've got to go accept my awards." And he came back. He needed multiple people to help carry all the trophies he brought back. I feel bad at his place. He's got so many trophies. You'd literally have to be there all day, dusting them off. But it's just amazing to see and how good you do and the quality of the pigeons. And the pigeons you sent us, again, it's that same quality. I says to my sister or my dad when we're handling the pigeons and we're looking at them by ourselves, I say, it's just like you were back at your place. You're
Yes.
handling those same pigeons.
Yes, yes, yes.
I have a question from Charles. Charles asked, Emiel, are the birds faster today than they were 40 or 50 years ago?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes, yeah, but they are. I can answer positively, but this has to do with the breed of the pigeons. They started breeding pigeons, say, in one breeding racing pigeons in 1820 or 30 in Liège. By crossing, they always improved the quality, the best to the best. Now, that's why I always introduce only from Aspie or from champions, a little cross. We usually cross our pigeons 25% strange blue, 75% on blue. Always the best to the best. So you improve all the time, and you must follow. If you don't do that, you will be behind. Because I sometimes say, if you say very inbred strain, my strain, I call it a family, but not inbred, inbred, inbred. If too much inbred, it's just like a Mercedes from 1950. Was a very good car, but you compare with a Mercedes from 2020, it's still a Mercedes, but the
Right.
difference
Yes.
is that.
Right.
So as technique improve, and the pigeons will be faster all the time, because everybody say, all top fanciers try to improve the breed, the best to the best always.
Leah, I think this has been a fantastic interview. I mean, we could talk about the 11 lots of pigeons. We could, but I'm going to be honest. You guys are listening to a legend, a master breeder, common sense, putting it all together, not afraid to push the distances, push to things that he didn't think he could do. He kept pushing and he's done it. And that's why here at Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions, these 11 lots, they're going to improve your breeding program. Okay, this is 100 years in the pigeon sport, probably in the best country for pigeon flying in the world, where they've mastered it, where they've had sprint clubs, long distance clubs, middle distance clubs. They fly around all the different directions. They push. This man has done it, and he's done it all over the world. His pigeons still to this day are at the top of their game. And I'm not going to talk, Leah, about these birds that we have up. These birds are from a legend. They will improve your breeding. We promise you that. And Leah, I don't know what to say. I'm almost
you know
speechless.
what, Ryan? I think not only if you're looking for a one loft pigeon or a combine pigeon or just your general loft racing, I think that the Emiel Denny pigeons, they have it all. And I think Emiel has said that, you know, he'll do anything. He'll go the one loft. He'll go Barcelona. He'll fly around the block. And he's not afraid to do it. And I don't think that our buyers should be afraid to bring in an extreme long distance or a long distance or a Barcelona bloodline into their loft to improve either their one loft game or their combine game. Do you agree, Ryan? And do you agree, Emiel?
Yes, because last year in 2019, in the biggest money club in China is the Pioneer Club in Beijing. The man that took most money, 1 million euro, well, is my pigeon.
Hey,
There you go.
Leah, that is it. And Emiel, I want to thank you for staying so young. I want to thank you for continuing to push. I know from the moment I've met you, it's even my dad. It's been Always a good feeling. I get the little goosebumps on my arm, and I cannot wait to come back to Belgium to visit you again.
I have one more question. I'm sorry. I have one more question from an audience member. Ross Hall asks, do you follow a type of select breeding, or do you put best to best?
A select breeding, you mean the type, a selective type?
Right. Or do you just best to best? Like, oh, this is a good one, this is a good one, put them together. What is your method to breeding?
I look at a certain type. Usually, a good pigeon is a good type. The bad types fall out by racing. If you have a good quality pigeon, maybe in the beginning he follow, but the survivors of long distance are always good type pigeons.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you see it. The basket is the boss.
Yes, you know. So you will experience if you fly your pigeons 1 or 2 or 3 years long distance. Only the good types survive. Then after it's easy to pair them up.
Here you go.
Hey, Leah, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I would like to fly. I would like to have Emiel send some birds to Taiwan for us.
Yeah, exactly. We're speaking with the legend himself, Emiel Denny. The online auction is open right now. Auction closes on Friday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Where do you bid? FeathersLeapPigeonAuctions.com. We have 11 amazing lots direct from the loft of Emiel Denny.
I want to show one more thing I got today.
Absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Show us, please.
No problem. See, Leah, this is what I'm talking about. This is, you can feel the little bumps on your skin. And people watching, if you guys could only.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
50 or 100 years ago, you read what is on it there for Barcelona in 2020. You read.
Wow.
Amazing.
My record for Barcelona 2020.
2020, folks. So for anybody wondering, does Emiel Denny still race? Does Emiel Denny still win? There you go, right there. From 2020, look at that. Amazing.
Wow. Congratulations, Emiel.
Yes,
congratulations to you. Congratulations on 100 years of being at the top of your game. What an absolute honor and privilege to speak to somebody with this much experience and this much to share. We know whoever buys the pigeons are just, amazing.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Ryan.
And thank you for supporting us and sending the birds in the last 2 years. The birds are always top quality. Again, you're number one in my books. You are always welcome back.
Yes.
And I want to thank, on behalf of the Facebook and YouTube subscribers, I want to thank you for doing this tonight.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, all right. That's Emiel Denny's guys, Ryan and Leah from Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. Again, thank you, Emiel. We're going to wrap this up. Thanks for flying with us. And hey, Emiel.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes, okay.
Keep winning those races.
Yes, okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.